have Mark Bertoli joining us from Abbott Wealth Management. Happy Wednesday afternoon. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
I'd like everyone to know that Mark has more than halfway done his Christmas shopping. It's not often you run into men that are done on the 2nd of December. You're doing very well.
Well, I hate the crowd, so.
Yeah, so it's motivation. Good. Let's get right into it. We're talking today about the report on third quarter Canadian bank earnings.
Yes.
And Canadian banks are the way to go.
They are. You know, it takes a charter from the Queen to create a Rate 1 bank in Canada. So they have a little bit of a competitive advantage. So very profitable companies. We talk about difficult to replicate, difficult to live without, and difficult to compete with. And they really fall under that quite well. Our personal philosophy is to own companies with earnings, and we watch those earnings, and basically the value of that company is relative to the earnings that it's able to create. So I sent in a little chart to look at what's going on in the Canadian banks right now.
We can get that chart up, I'm sure.
We had Scotia, BMO, and RBC reporting.
Yes.
CIBC reports tomorrow. Some incredible numbers. Scotia, 1.8 billion in the quarter. BMO, 1.2, and RBC, 2.59 billion in the quarter. So you can see Scotia, BMO, RBC up 8 and 13% respectively. But what's really significant here is RBC this year posted a full year earnings of over $10 billion. It's one of the first times ever a Canadian corporation has posted $10 billion of earnings in a year.
So what made this so this
very,
time around?
Very significant. Well, the beauty about our banks is that they adapt. You know, insurance products, in wealth management, all different, and now expanding into the U.S. RBC's just completing a purchase of a large bank in California. Our banks are moving into the States and doing very well and being very successful. So. And
we're just discussing, is this why we're seeing this name change from the Royal Bank to RBC? Bank of Nova Scotia, now Scotiabank, BMO, Bank of Montreal, but now known as BMO. Why is this? Why are we?
Well, I think it's a branding thing too. Yeah. They want to be, you know, you see TD, for instance. You know, it used to be Toronto Dominion.
They're all acronyms
and
now.
It is because, well, you'll see it in U.S. sporting events. You'll see TD and things like that. Well, I don't know that the Americans would support a bank called Toronto Dominion or Royal Bank of Canada, but RBC and TD are okay, right? So it's a pretty brilliant branding marketing, I think, and we're doing well, competing in the United States as well. So.
Speaking about brilliant brands of marketing, Black Friday, of course, all over the place. This, of course, started, I didn't know this, but Black Friday started in the 1930s.
Yeah,
and I didn't know that, but I did a little homework. But, you know, it's as much a part of the Canadian landscape now as it is in the States.
It really is, yeah. You know, and boy, oh boy, we would have sat here 5 years ago and talked about Cyber Monday, and it really was insignificant. But what's happened this year, imagine one day, this Black Friday, there was $10.1 billion worth of retail sales in the United States.
Wow, that's like the entire Royal Bank's earnings being spent.
In one day. There you go. That's good spending.
Yeah.
So interesting, though, but Black Friday's sales in the U.S. were down about 10.4%. But ironically, the online version was up 14.3% this year. So there's a few things happening. It used to be that one day, but now everyone's stretching it. I read an article, there's actually some consumer backlash about Thanksgiving Day in the US when stores are opening. So there's starting to be some social backlash and people saying, you know what, it's Thanksgiving. Shut down and go be with your family. So interesting stuff.
Has this surpassed Boxing Day now for sales, do you know?
It is the largest day in the U.S.
Is.
Absolutely.
And what about Canada, I wonder?
Well, Canada's interesting. And if you go back 1 year and 2 years in Canada, the Black Friday was feverish because Canadian retailers realized that there was literally busloads of people heading down to the States for Black Friday. Our dollar was more competitive a couple of years ago, so Canadian retailers really stepped up to the plate. Well, now we're having to pay $1.32, $1.33 for a dollar.
To stay home.
There's not a lot of people crossing the border for Black Friday. So Canada, the Canadian retailers have been able to reel it back in a little bit.
Which is good.
But they had a great day as well.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Mark Bertoli, we're out of time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Information on the screen if you'd like to learn more. AbbottWealth.com. If you'd like to speak with Mark directly, you can certainly do that. Information's right there, 372-3736. We are back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.